Welcome to ScotsGay Live. We're here in the Assembly Gardens to interview some of the best LGBT acts and allies that we have here at Edinburgh Fringe 2019. We're delighted to be supported by Box Menswear alongside a partnership with Assembly and Zyne. So, let's get to it. Now, please put your hands together for the cast of The Good Scout. Hello.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Hello, how are you?
Not too bad, thanks. Now, the cast of The Good Scout, thanks for coming in all of your glory.
Yes.
Can you just introduce yourselves all for me?
So I'm Clement Charles, I play Will.
I'm Simon Starsh, I play Friedrich Dorf.
I'm Clemente Law and I play Gerhard.
I'm Charlie Mackay and I play Jacob.
And that shows you how this goes.
Tell us a bit about the show.
So it's based on true events. It's about an exchange program between the Hitler Youth, the Nazi Hitler Youth, and the Rover Scouts of England. And this particular one, we have two Nazi youth coming over to England, and we have a bit of a clash to Basington, England, specifically. And there's a clash of their different ideals and morals and their understandings, their cultural understandings.
It's basically like, from what I thought was so fantastic about it is that it's basically an untold story. Basically, back at school we learnt about the war and stuff like that, but we never actually knew that the Boy Scouts actually met up with the Hitler Youth and actually made these relationships. And I think there is all of this crazy stuff that comes with it. Obviously, the contrast of cultures and ideals and stuff. But when it came down to it, you know, they're all boys. And they get on well, and then there's that kind of clash of like, what do you do? And then there's also the relationships that come with it.
Yeah, there's an interesting, I think, our two characters definitely are extremely stuck with their ways, and they are all about their country, and it's the ideas of the country are very different, obviously, and they eventually go to war, as we know, but the crux of it, we love our countries, and they really do everything what is right for their country, which isn't always right for their friends. So they're both doing the same thing, it's just that they were brought up in different places. So I think we kind of understand that now with our insight in today's world.
And it delves into sexuality, and
it does.
Obviously, back then it was maybe more challenging than it is now.
Yeah.
What sort of themes are we exploring here?
Definitely, some of the characters are. None of the characters can be fully openly gay. That's clear. And there's all a kind of gay theme with everyone. Each character is hiding something. Let's say. My character definitely. Yeah, you go ahead.
I think there's an ideal around those years that you had as a German but also as an English person that you had to fulfill. So there was an expectation how you should behave. And I think in this play particularly it starts to clash because it starts clashing with their feelings, especially these guys over here. Yeah. And when it comes to the Hitler Youth, there's a lot of cruelty in the background, so it's kind of forcing you to act a certain way. And I guess the play is exploring.
The relationship with Gerhard and Friedrich. Gerhard, my character, is quite strong, as you said, on his ideology, and he's very much a Nazi kind of, perfect kind of model of a man or whatever, and Friedrich is the more sensitive type, and it's that kind of the more sensitive type. But basically,
complete with jazz hands.
It's bringing up that kind of idea of we're very close friends, and Gerhard, my character, is also gay, but it's kind of it's the way in which you deal with a situation that's not allowed, and I think that's what makes it relevant today. I mean, sure, I'm from London, so that's a completely different thing to the rest of the world where repression and everything is still very much a thing. But I think that definitely it's that kind of what Amanda says a line when you ask, is it right to feel that way?
Oh yeah, she says we can't help feeling the way we do, whether it's right or wrong. I think that helps also. So my character is refuses or can't love Jacob, which is his name, because he can't accept him for who he is because of the way his country, I guess, refuses to accept homosexuality, and he can't look past that. He can't love his friend simply for who he is, and that's something that I think at that time happened a lot, whereas now we're able to kind of look past that.
And do you think the message of the show is resonating today as a relevant message?
Yeah.
Oh yes, of course. I mean, when we look politically, I don't want to go into that, but I mean, let's not talk about Brexit.
The B word.
Yes.
I've not had my breakfast yet. So.
It is true though. I mean, if you start, like in this play, it explores sort of what would happen, especially to my character, what would happen if you actually want to stay somewhere and a government tells you no, you can't, you have to serve it, you have to come back home. It's a horrible situation because, you know, it's out of your hands. You do have desires, you have ideas, you have a plan for your future, and all of a sudden, you know,
there's uncertainty now. Isn't it?
Yes, and someone tells you no, you can't do that. Horrible thing to experience in the play. So let's see what the future brings.
Now, you're all quite seasoned professionals, I hear. Is this the first time at the Fringe? Or?
This is my third time consecutively with the show. This is your...
Oh, it's my third time.
Yeah. I know what I'm doing, honey.
It's my very first time here, and I'm loving it.
This is my first time doing something at a drama school, and it's been absolutely brilliant.
And he's fabulous. He's ridiculously good.
This is your first, isn't it?
It's my first time performing. I came twice as a visitor.
Ah, fabulous. Well, welcome to Edinburgh. How have you found Edinburgh so far?
I think it's ecstatic. I think, yes. I mean, in both ways. I do think it's quite aggressive, the atmosphere, and I didn't expect that. So as a performer, I am quite sensitive and I quite like to sort of have a safe space, to have a theatre where you feel like you can emotionally open yourself. But I mean, Edinburgh is different because it's about who's the loudest, who's the quickest, and who's making the biggest storm about their show. I think it teaches you very useful skills because that's skills you need nowadays with all that Instagram and Facebook stuff. I mean, it's all about who's the loudest. But it's therefore an ecstatic experience because in both ways I feel it's useful.
Yeah, it definitely, for me as a performer, has helped me work out how I split up my life and my acting life and doing my shows. So I kind of know that at a certain point during the day I need to start focusing on my show, but the rest of the time I can kind of forget it and do whatever I want. And I definitely, before going to drama school and during drama school, there's this kind of thing of I have to think about my show 24/7. That's everything to me, and it helps as a performer to kind of separate that, which is invaluable, I'd say. I'm sure you're learning that as well.
How is it straight out of drama school then coming to somewhere like Edinburgh?
It's a really scary experience, I'm not going to lie. It's been really brilliant to be with this cast, and Glenn Chandler, who's wrote and directed. He wrote Taggart, I've heard. The famous Glenn Chandler. But no, it's been, with the cast that's here and everyone that's looking after you, it's been the best experience I could have ever asked for. I feel so and truly lucky. Just holding this with you. There you go.
I just wanted to add also, being in a place where everyone else is also a young, or not even always young, but just a creative that also has no money, that's also completely struggling because of how shit the government is and arts funding and everything. And you're suddenly in this space where everyone wants to create, and you're meeting these different people that are geniuses in their own regard, and you meet them and you make plans with them. And I know that half the people I've met here I'm going to be working with in the future, and it's just nice to be in a space that is thriving in that kind of way, which you don't see in a lot of places.
Now, you mentioned the link to Scotland with this show.
The one and only.
In that the writer is also the famous writer of Taggart. Have any of you seen Taggart?
Funnily enough, I watched a couple episodes after meeting Glenn. I was like, I should probably know this, and I tried to watch. I'm going to watch all of it. It's honestly, there's 30 years to watch. There's a lot. It ran for so long. It was an
institution in Scotland.
Exactly,
but
yeah.
I know that Glenn really hates it when you say that your grandparents watch it, but I didn't. But we're delighted actually to have the wonderful Glenn Chandler here. So please welcome Glenn. Cozy up, Glenn. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Not too bad, thanks. How are you?
I'm all right, thank you.
Thanks for joining us. And you know, this is an interesting show that you've written. What brought you to write this untold story?
It's never been done before. It's a wee bit of a revenge because I applied to join the Boy Scouts when I was 14 and they wouldn't let me in. They said that I was morally unacceptable or something. I had a reputation at 14. I have no idea why. So they wouldn't let me into the Boy Scouts. So this is my revenge. And I have to say that it features the very first Boy Scout Hitler Youth kiss ever seen on the English stage. I think so, unless anybody knows different.
Well, I'm sure someone might come up with it, but I doubt it. I doubt that there is another one. Tell us about the life and times of Taggart quickly. 30 years in 15 seconds. 28
years. Can I span that into 1982? I came up with the idea. 1983, we started filming it. 15 years later, I thought, yeah, I've had a good run at Taggart. I'll leave it to some other people, and it went on for about another 14 years after that. But it was a fabulous experience, and I have to hand it to Robert Love, who was the producer of Taggart. Without him, it would never have got off the ground. He had this genius idea. Let's do a detective series set in Glasgow, and that was my brief. Go away and write it.
And this isn't your first show at Edinburgh, isn't it? Is it?
No, this is my 7th.
And what keeps bringing you back to Edinburgh?
Dare I say money? No, that'd be a laugh. That'd be a lie. No, I just love the buzz, and I love the atmosphere in Edinburgh, and it's a great place to do a show where you can take a risk. I got out of television because you can't take risks anymore with television. Everything has to be formula. Everything has to be like the series that made big money the year before. Edinburgh, you can come up with a play. You don't know if it's going to be successful or not. You can take some huge risks. Okay, they're financial risks, artistic risks, but this is the place to do it.
And what's it like working with these boys?
Oh, brilliant. I hesitate. I say they keep me young, but they've aged me 10 years.
And if there was a message for a new budding writer that's thinking about bringing a play to the Fringe next year, what would it be for them?
I would say do it. I went to see a play the other day by two lads. One was in his 6th form at school, one was in the 5th form. They wrote, directed, produced, cast, they were in it. And I would say, just get a back room, get a small venue, get your mates together and do it. There's no good writing plays and just waiting for some producer to pick them up and put them on a stage somewhere. You've got to do it yourself nowadays. Anybody coming out of drama school knows this. Get your own project, make it alive.
Brilliant. Well, thanks very much for joining us. Everyone, give it up for the cast of the Good Scouts. Thank you. Thanks very much.